A developer's worst nightmare, worst fear. We shudder at the mere thought of it. Merge conflicts, rebase conflicts. It's 5 p.m. on a Friday and you slaved away for weeks, finally got your feature to work, and ready to merge back in before the sprint ends. You run the command, git merge master. Auto merge failed. You have too many merge conflicts. There's red text everywhere. Your editor is glowing red and highlighting every file red. Say goodbye to your weekend. Sometimes this is inevitable, but we're going to try our best to understand the merge and rebase in hopes that we can tackle it better in the future and hopefully save our future weekend. We're going to take a look at this basic scenario here with live code. So we branched off of master and created a feature branch. We added some commits to feature branch and the master branch diverged. We are going to use the git merge and the git rebase commands to get the master code back into our feature branch. In this process, we'll also learn about Git Rebase-I, which is the interactive mode of Rebase, which is the preferred way of a lot of developers due to its control. So let's get to it. Merging. So we have a basic project here. We have this index.js file. We have a say hello function. We have a say goodbye function, and then it prints out the response. Let's say hello. We're going to add some commits into this branch, and then we're going to add a commit into the master branch to divert it, and then we're going to try merging that master into feature, and then we're going to force a merge conflict. Then we're going to see how to resolve that conflict. So let's go. So the branch currently, let's take a look at status. It's up to date. And then let's take a look at the logs. So we have 2 commits here. And then if we actually pull up our GitHub account, the master branch and the commit history. So we have this initial commit here, 702, 702. And then the Git master branch has diverged. So someone added some sort of commit here. Now if we take a simple look at that commit, we just added Gandalf to the say hello function. But currently we don't see it because we didn't pull any of the master changes into our feature branch. So let's say I started working on my feature. The first feature I'm going to add is I'm going to add Groot into the same say hello function. So this is to simulate a merge conflict that you're going to see soon. So the name is Groot. And I'm just going to respond with a specific Groot message. Hello, Groot. Now that is our first commit. So let's add that file. Let's commit the message. Add Groot. Great. Now I'm just going to add another commit. So let's say I added another file here, index2.js. And then in here, I'm just going to console log. This is index2. Great. Now let's add that commit as well. So git add and then git commit. We're just gonna give it a message, which is second commit added index2.js. So at this point, we made those 2 commits locally. You see here the first commit is here, and the second commit is nowhere to be found. So let's see if we added it correctly. We indeed added it correctly, but oh, okay. So this actually is in the root, so I'm going to move it over to the actual project directory. So it was actually outside, so I didn't add anything. Okay, so git add index2.js, git commit, second commit, added index2.js. Great. Now at this point, when I do git log, you're going to see the first commit's there, second commit's there. So now we have this Gandalf change in the master branch. So I need to merge that in to my feature branch in order to get up to date. So what I do is I check out the master, git pull, and I check out back to the feature. And at this point, I'm going to simply run the merge command. Git merge master. Let's see what happens. Now, as you can see, Git is notifying us there's a conflict in index.js, automatic merge failed. The reason why is because remember how we added the root function? And the master branch also is dealing with the say hello function and also with this else if. So it intelligently knows that there is a conflict that you're going to have to resolve. So let's take a look at this. So it has my changes here, which is indicated by this position, the header. So this is my local, and this is what's coming from the master. So in VS Code, you can actually click these buttons here, accept current change, which is my local, accept incoming, which is master. Let's just try accepting both changes. But as you can see here, it doesn't work magically. So something is off here, like the parentheses off. There's like a missing quote here. Okay, so that's actually a commit from master branch. So we're gonna have to resolve this. So normally what you would do is, talk to the developer who actually worked on this and be like, hey, I'm gonna add Groot, you added Gandalf, that's cool, right? And then you guys kind of work it out. And once everything's good to go, you would just make sure or get the code to working position or working point. So there we go, it works. So this if statement looks good to go. Once all the conflicts have been merged, this is a very simple case, right? Where we only have one conflict, but in your actual real life project, you can have multiple conflicts. So you may have to actually scroll down and resolve every single merge conflict within a single file or multiple files. But once you resolve all the conflicts in multiple files and in your files, you add the changes and you stage them for commit. Once you add it, you create another commit, which is merge conflict resolved. Now, at this point, the merge has been complete. So let's take a look at the logs and actually see what happened. As you can see here, it kept both of your commits right here, and then included the master branches commit right here. But also added another merge here because, like we said, merge adds a merge commit. And this merge commit is actually the commit that actually handles all the merge conflicts. So this commit actually is the combined conditionals, both Groot and Gandalf. And if you had other files or other positions in the file where you had that conflict resolution, it would be indicated in this commit right here. So that's how you would resolve merge conflicts. Once you do a merge, Git will let you know. Then you'd have to go through every single file. So in VS Code, you can actually see that using the source control here. And by default, when you actually look at the files, it highlights it as red. So you can go through all the files that are red, resolve the conflict. And once everything is good to go, you can push, or once the features are good to go, you can push this feature upstream. Then you're good to go. All right, that's it for merge. So let's take a look at rebase now. Rebasing. So now, instead of merge, let's try a rebase now. So I reverted all the changes. So my feature branch is back at what it originally was. Just to reiterate, the master branch, as we mentioned. If we take a look at the commit, there's a commit that added Gandalf into the say hello function, which we are going to cause a merge conflict. So I already made the changes with Groot. So if you do git status index.js, as you can see here, we added Groot here, and I added an index2.js file. So I'm going to commit them in two different commits, like we did last time. So git add index.js, git commit, first commit, added Groot. Now that's the first commit. So the second commit now is git add index2.js, and then I'm going to commit with the message added index2.js. Okay, so at this point, do git log. Let's just verify it. Cool. So the first commit's there. The second commit is there. So now we're going to git rebase with master, and a conflict is going to happen. So as you can see here, now the status of this is rebase 1 out of 2. So if you do a git status here, you'll see this is the current commit that is trying to play with the new base. And when it tries to play that in index.js, remember, Gandalf was added. So we're going to have to resolve this. So you delete some of these lines, make sure there's no errors. There's an else here for some reason, so we're going to delete that, and we're going to get the code to a point where it works and the merge conflict has been resolved. So once the conflict is resolved, same step with rebasing. So you would, so this is the change right here. So I would add that index.js after your conflicts have been resolved, and then you commit that resolved with the message resolved conflict index.js. Great. So at this point, your first commit that was played has been resolved. So what you do next is you want to move on to the next commit that you have. So continue, and as you can see, it automatically played the second commit because there was no merge conflict or anything. So there we have it. So the first commit was done, the second commit was done. And if we actually look at the logs now, you'll see this 7CD3A, the Gandalf change, this is the new base, the new tip that we're working off of. Then it plays the first commit, which was the change in index.js. And while it was playing that first commit, remember how we had a merge conflict? So we resolved that conflict and gave this a new commit message, which is this. So this is a brand new commit. Also, secondly, the second commit is just adding index2.js. There was no conflict, so it took our original commit and then replaced it with this new commit. And at this point, this code is working. So we just rebased master into our feature branch. So there we have it. That's it for rebasing. In the next section, so in here, we use the default Git Rebase. But in the next portion, we're going to look at the interactive mode of Rebase -I, which is a different way to rebase. It's an interactive mode, which gives you, as a developer, a lot more control in actually defining the different steps to take when you rebase. So we'll take a look at that and see what that looks like. My preferred method is to use the interactive rebase because, like I said, we have more control. You can either squish commits, you can fix commits, you can change commit messages, and there's a lot of different features that the interactive mode provides you with, and we'll go over that right now. Git Rebase Interactive Mode. So I reverted the code back to what it originally was, and I added these additional commits, these additional 4 commits. So this is all before rebasing. So locally, these commits were made, and like we did the first time, the first commit we added this group condition here to force a merge conflict, or sorry, rebase conflict, and then we added just these other commits just for demonstration purposes. So second commit, fourth commit, and the third commit is down here. Just the console logs. All right, so at this point, I'm going to merge with master, which has that conflict, the Gandalf change. So I'm going to git rebase, but instead of just running rebase with default, I'm going to run it as an interactive mode and see what that looks like. So git rebase master, and let's run it. So this opens up this file for you. In VS Code, it opens up a file in different terminals or different editors you're using. I might just open a Vim or whatever editor of your choice. But the scenario is the same. So when you rebase with interactive mode, it provides you with this to-do list. And the to-do list essentially is the sequential order of how your commits are going to be played. So the first one, my first commit is going to play, or after the new base has been defined and the new tip, we're going to play the first commit, my second commit, my third commit, my fourth commit. And this command on the first right here, this first word right here. So there are different commands that you can use to define the behavior when you actually play that. So things like pick is the default way. It just plays your commit as is. Reword, for example, you can edit the commit message when you run it. So literally, if I say reword or R, I can change this comment, adding more git commit message. Then instead of using the original the original commit message, it's gonna use this and reword that commit message. And there's other things like squash, fix up. There's a lot of different functionalities here, but the main ones used are pick, squash, fix up usually. And I'll go over those, or I'll go over the squash and fix up in a bit. But let's just actually take a look at this and what the rebase looks like when we run it like this. Oh, just a disclaimer. I mean, you can change the order of like the commits if you want. Generally, I just leave whatever as is because the commit order is how I developed. But if you need to, you can switch those orders out. So yeah, let's actually play this rebase now. Once everything is good to go and you defined everything correctly, you can save this file and just close it. Then rebase is gonna start happening. So now let's take a look at this. We'll do a git status, and you'll see this is the first commit that is trying to play on top of the new tip. And what we're seeing is there is a conflict here. So we're gonna have to resolve that. So open up the index.js that we worked on. As you can see, the Gandalf change came in and then a conflict has occurred. What you do is you resolve the conflict, make sure all the logic is correct. We remove this else statement here that we don't need, and then we're just gonna make sure that this is working. At this point, you're confident that it works. So you successfully resolved that merge conflict. Once you do that, it's the same step. You add the index.js and you commit it. You can commit it with a message like resolved conflicts. Moving on. So once you commit that, essentially the 1 out of 4, the first commit is ready for commit, and then you can continue on to the next one. So to reiterate, you can use this command, git rebase continue, to continue to your next commit in line, which is, if you see right here, it's this one. So run git rebase continue to move on to the next commit. And as you can see, it actually played commits 2, 3, and 4 without any issues because there were no merge conflicts, and it's able to do it automatically. Once that's all done, you see that this commit message was provided. The only reason why this commit message is provided is because remember in the fourth commit we changed this to reword. It provided you with it because now it gives you the ability to reword your commit. So I added this reword in here, so I'm just going to copy paste this in here to just for convenience. And you can save this file and just close it. Once you do that, your rebase has been complete. So if you actually take a look at the logs, the git logs, you see. So this is the new tip we were working off of. This is the first commit, which there was a merge conflict. Remember, Gandalf and Groot, there was a conflict in the if statement. So we resolved those issues and then we gave it a new commit message, which is seen right here. Now the second commit was played, third commit was played, and the fourth commit was played with the reworded commit message. So there you have it. So as you can see, the interactive mode provides you with this fine-grained control for each of the commits that are going to be played, which is my preferred, like I mentioned, which is my preferred way of doing rebasing because it just gives you a lot of control. Even if you're using it as the default pick, I like just verifying that these are the things that are going to run and then rebasing and then continuing on with rebasing. So let's take a look at, in the interactive mode, remember how we saw those options, squash and fix out. Let's take a look at what those do. Okay, let's take a look at squashing commits with Git Rebase. So I reverted the changes back to before the rebase. So as you can see, we have the first commit, second commit, third commit, and fourth commit. And as you can see here in the commit, these commits is quite long. You know, it just populates a lot of the logs in Git, and then it makes it a little difficult to actually see. I mean, it's not a huge problem with 4 commits, but imagine having a feature branch that was worked on for months, and then you have hundreds and hundreds of commits. In that case, that would be a real problem, right? Your Git log would be very, very long and very difficult to navigate and read. So one way to resolve some of those readability issues in Git log is to squish your commits when you rebase. So let's go over that here. So Git rebase. So once the commits are all good, I'm gonna rebase with master in interactive mode, which I forgot to do. So in that case, what you do is you do a git rebase abort. I'm aborting it because I forgot to run it in interactive mode. So git rebase abort. So do a log. Okay, so back here, and I'm going to rebase again. Git rebase interactive mode, and then master. So now here, as you can see, the default mode is to pick, to treat each individual commits as is, and then to create a replacement commit for each of your old commits. But instead of that, what I want to do is I want to squash everything. So I'm going to squash this, squash this, squash this. So what that does is it plays this commit and then squashes this into here, squashes this into the previous one, squashes this into the previous one. You can pass in the full name or, like I said, the alias, which is S. So in that case, what squash does, it squishes the commits, but it keeps all the commit logs in your final message. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to save this. And I'm going to close this. There's a merge conflict. Remember how there was that merge conflict there? So I'm going to resolve the conflict. So make sure that this else statement is gone. And make sure this is all fixed up. Okay, I'm missing closing quote there. Okay, so let's say that's good to go. I'm gonna git add the file, git commit, resolve conflicts. And we're good for that commit. So let's move on. Git rebase, continue. Great. So as you can see at the end, it squished all our commits. So this was the first one, our first commit after resolution. Second, third, fourth. You can just leave this as is, or you can even modify this. This can go like resolved conflict and squishing all merges, for example. So you can save that file, close it, and what that looks like when the commit is actually made. We're gonna take a look. There we go. There's only a single commit for all 4 of your commits that you rebased. But as you can see, this is a really convenient way to clean up your Git log history. So again, the basis here, we had 4 commits, but we squished all our commits into a single one. The fix up is essentially the same as squash, but the messages, it's not combined. So it just takes whatever is the first one. Usually if you use that as the one that picked. So yeah, the fix up is essentially the same thing. The message is the only difference. So yeah, there you have it. So that's another strategy, another tool in your toolbox that you can use when you merge or rebase things. If you don't want long Git logs, you can squish stuff. There we go. There you have it. So hopefully that covers merge conflicts and rebase conflicts. And hopefully you can save your weekend in the future. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Alright, if you guys enjoyed that video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Wait, how long am I doing this? Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment. Okay, I'm done.